much jacks him for the bag of money, and jumps on his BMX, and there's this huge fucking chase scene through New York, and they have some of the best camera work in that scene. But the point of me bringing this up is that they play an Ice-T song underneath that scene, and I think that it really adds that kind of edge that scene needs, and I really like it. Like when we were watching it, I feel like that's something that really stood out. Like it really kind of sets you in the mood for the film that you're watching. You know what I mean? A very strong, at least in my opinion, a very strong opening, and it kind of, because he catches Pookie, and he gets the money back, and he kind of blows his cover too, which plays a part in the very end of the film. But very, very strong opening. And and I think that a lot of the music works, and there's a few tracks, like you were saying, that maybe are a little exaggerated or could have been taken out, and they do beat you over the head with the New Jack City stuff, and it's like yeah, we get it, we're like in New York, the crime filled New York area, but I think for the most part the soundtrack works. I know when it came out in 91, the soundtrack was a big deal. This movie was a big deal, man. If you check out some of what the critics were saying, I think Ice-T was praised. The movie was praised for being one of the most authentic portrayals of gangster life ever created.
Oh wow! Okay.
This movie is kind of beloved, which is pretty cool, because it's I don't know. I think it's an empowering film for probably a lot of people. At least I would like to think a lot of people have seen this or know about it. It's a classic, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What I think it's your question, dude.
Yeah. All right. If you could change something, or something you didn't like about the movie, what was that?
Honestly, it would just be some of the when they would do some of the interior shots with the characters. They would do this weird kind of angles that seemed like very dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I get you.
Just the way that they would be, the framing of some of the shots for when they're talking amongst one another, that kind of took me out, because I'm just like, oh, that could have been framed so well, and a lot of this movie looks so good, or I feel like that's the only thing that kind of stands out as a sore thumb as far as cinematography goes, that doesn't work well today. When you see that done today, it looks very music video or low grade television. So that's the only thing that I think that I would go back and reshoot if I could.
Okay. Yeah.
If this isn't your favorite gangster film, do you have one, or one that you would consider gangster?
Yeah, a gangster film for me that's kind of tough. There's so many that I really enjoy, but for me, I would probably have to say Goodfellas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is pretty rad.
Yeah, I really enjoy that movie a lot.
That's on Netflix, right? Check it out, guys.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What about you? Your favorite gangster movie?
Well, we did an episode on one of my top ones, Casino. If you guys haven't heard that yet and you're interested, you should go back and check out our thoughts on Casino, which was a fun episode, I believe. And I'll throw in a wild card that it would be kind of an unorthodox gangster movie, but I think essentially these are still gangs, so I'm gonna say Green Street Hooligans.
Oh yes, I love that movie. That
Holy
movie is
shit!
awesome.
That movie, when I watched it for the first time, it literally changed my life. It changed.
Yeah, that movie was awesome.
It changed the way I looked at film, the way that you can tell a story. You know what I mean? Because I was very kind of unaware of the culture and how that really goes on over there, and that just fucking blew my mind, dude.
Yeah, that movie is insane.
Charlie Hunnam, probably that's hands down his best work, dude, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd say that's pretty on, for me at least, on on par for his character for Jax Teller in Sons of Anarchy. I really enjoyed that series, and I think that was I would say that show probably brought him into the spotlight. You know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But he has done other things besides that. Before that show, but before that show, but definitely Green Street Hooligans is I'd say probably one of his best, if not the best, movies he's done.
Yeah, for sure. And early on too. That's from a while ago.
Yeah, he was pretty young.
And Elijah Wood, we can't forget about our boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Green Street Hooligans, guys. That's a bonus rec for you guys. Check it out.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Very underrated film. I think it's your turn. Got any more for me?
I don't have any more. I can't think of any right now. Do you have any?
Well, do you have any closing thoughts on the film or things you want to throw in?
Yeah, one of the things that kind of bugged me a little bit about the movie, aside from like the clothes and some of the music, but was the friendship that Ice-T and Chris Rock kind of build in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And they have some scenes where it shows them where if you're not familiar with the movie, Chris Rock is he's a crack addict, and Ice-T kind of helps him become sober and takes him to his to like therapy and stuff like that, and basically is with him as he's having like his as he's like shivering on his bed and stuff. And for me, that kind of those scenes felt a little rushed, and spoiler alert, when you get the death of his character, for me at least, I didn't feel too invested in that relationship. I didn't feel as much as probably they want you to feel for that character or for that relationship.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel like that part of the film is a little rushed, and you don't really get to kind of dive into that relationship or why Scotty or Ice-T's character really feels the need to help Pookie the way that he does, other than he feels bad because he's the one who kind of got him arrested, and I think he shoots him in the leg in the beginning, and then he kind of turns a new leaf, and he wants to turn this guy around, and then ultimately Scotty pretty much is like he tells Pookie, you owe it to your people and to us and to my mother to do this, to go deep on undercover, and we need to get these guys. So
yeah.
Pookie or Chris Rock does it, and he relapses in the middle of being deep undercover, and so his he starts acting kind of out of sorts, and they freak out and they check him and find out that he has a wire, and so he ends up being murdered, and it's kind of plays back to it being Scotty's fault because he pressured him into doing this when he was very uncomfortable and not really with it.
Yeah.
So but I feel like they could have done a slightly better job of I feel like they kind of I guess Ice-T, the way that he's just like once his friend dies, he's just like, oh, I got to do this for Pookie or whatever. Like we got to.
Yeah, he's kind of like, this is for Pookie. This is for my friend. My friend's dead now. And then
and that's kind of it.
You're kind of just led to believe that he really cared for this guy. But yeah, they have like a 5-minute montage, and that's it, of him kind of like rehabbing Chris Rock.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't do our rating system. So what? Yeah. What would you give? What would you give New Jack City if you could?
For me, I'd probably have to give it a 7. Nothing against the movie at all, but maybe just those little minor things that kind of, for me, dated and.
A 7's not bad. 7's still good. It's not. Yeah, it's more than half.
yeah. 7's good, but yeah. So mine's a 7. I mean, what would yours be if you had to rate this movie?
I think we're going to agree on this one, man. I'd say a 7. It's a good throwback. It's got its flaws, but it's a film that I could say I think it shines in those flaws, and it makes the flaws kind of make it what it is and why it's embedded in our kind of history, if you will. So I really like this movie. I think it definitely got me interested in the kind of. It was one of the earlier gangster films that I ever was pretty much exposed to, so it's always going to have a place in my heart because of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. New Jack City.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump into some Swann facts?
Yeah. Let's get to them.
All right. Cool.
Swann facts.
All right, Swann facts are started. So this is this was the highest grossing indie film of 1991.
Ooh.
It's Ice-T almost refused this film because of his distaste for the police, and he also had previous connections with the Crips, apparently. Nino Brown was especially written for Wesley Snipes.
Oh, cool.
Tupac actually tried out for the role of G Money, which is basically Wesley Snipes' right-hand guy, played by Alan Payne, I believe. But Tupac didn't land the role because he looked too young next to Wesley Snipes. All right. So the chase between Ice and Chris Rock was actually improvised due to budget cuts.
Wow.
By the time they got to that scene, which was supposed to initially be a car chase scene, they had no money to shoot it, so they decided to, I guess Chris Rock decided that they just, he jumped on a BMX, and then Ice-T followed him on foot, and they did that scene, but it was all because of money issues. But honestly, like I said, that's my favorite. I think my favorite scene of the film actually is that chase.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy that they had to put that in there. Like they weren't going to do that originally, and that's one of your favorite. That's your favorite scene from the movie, pretty much.
Yeah, because he's like going down the stair, all the stairs with his bike, and it's filmed very well, and yeah, I really like it. So that's interesting that could have not even been in the film at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. I
definitely prefer that as opposed to watching them, do some car chase or whatnot.
Yeah.
Ice-T, he plays an undercover cop in this film, but he actually had a huge dispute over a song he had previously wrote called "Cop Killer" for his group Body Count, which is one of the first all African American metal groups.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys should.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Also, here's a bonus Swann fact. His group Body Count, they just released. I think it was last year. They released a new record. And it was actually nominated for A Grammy.